Welcome to today's Inside Scoop. Today is Thursday, April 7th, and we are going to give you an update on what's going on at the legislature. Woot, woot. So, what is going on? First, big picture. There are wild rumors at the Capitol about when will they be distributing targets. Targets are when they split up how much money is going to be spent in each area. So, for example, Health and Human Services, Finance gets a target of how much money they would be able to spend. Higher Education, Finance, same thing. Taxes, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. We have not heard that targets have been distributed yet, but there are always rumors. That is why we continue to push folks to find out whether or not we can fund some of our issues. Also, they will have to be figuring out the trifecta, as I like to refer to it, which is transportation, bonding, and taxes, the three big bills that everybody's emphasizing. Those issues will definitely spill over into how much money they have left to spend on all of the other issues involved. So we continue to watch for that. We hear that the House and the Senate are both, in their respective bodies, getting closer and closer to distributing targets. So we look forward to that. Our bills, what's happening? The Best Life Alliance 5%, 7% elderly waiver rate increase. As you probably heard last week, 5% went to 7% in the House. 5% stayed at 5% in the Senate. Both of these bills, realistically speaking, I don't believe 7% is actually on the table in the House, but both of these bills have provisions in them which give increases to elderly waiver rates. They are sitting currently in Health and Human Services Finance in each of the respective bodies, and we will wait to see what bill comes out, which is again tied back to the targets as to whether or not they have spending money to appropriate money for this. 5% is about $95 million, so it's a lot of money. Workforce, we have a hearing this afternoon where Aaron Bowie is over at the Capitol right now preparing for a hearing in Higher Education Finance Division on workforce. Our workforce initiative is to raise awareness of long-term care careers and work to promote that. It also has been scheduled, we believe, for a hearing next week on the House side. Both of these hearings will meet the deadline, which is good because that means they're still available. Again, spending on those two issues will depend greatly on what the target is for the committees. Health Information Technology, the bill passed out of the Aging Committee and is sitting in Finance on the House side. And the bill unfortunately did not receive a hearing in the Policy Committee. And so therefore we are in trouble with the Health Information Technology bill, but we push forward nonetheless. Moratorium bill, we have it scheduled for a hearing next Wednesday in the House, and it is in the process of being on the list in the Senate. They haven't quite lined up all of their hearings, so we don't have confirmation yet. Also, microsimulation, just got word that it's scheduled for a hearing in the House Finance next week. And again, same thing. Checked in yesterday with the Senate. They are in the process of putting together their list of what they will hear next week, because next week is the finance deadline, which means the finance bills must have been heard in the respective finance committees. Also, quick update, we are continue to watch Governor's policy bill as there are some provisions in there that we're concerned about, and finance bill overall, just because it is, after all, the governor's proposal. And lastly, swing bed seems to have been put to sleep in its bed for this year, but we anticipate that we will have ongoing conversations with the proponents of changes to see if there is a way to solve that problem that is perceived. What can you do? That is the question. Well, this week, if you saw the email that we sent out yesterday, we were asking you to contact the House to support spending on the elderly waiver increase. Next week, we will be asking you to contact the Senate to support spending money on the elderly waiver rate increase. Those are the two big asks this week and next week. Hopefully, they will move the dial a little bit on the internal caucus conversations and perhaps allocate some money for those increases. So that is today's Inside Scoop. This just in. I just told you about targets being distributed and maybe this week. Well, they've gone public now, at least the first round of targets. The House put out their targets, and this hot off the presses, it's literally on my screen right now, came in while filming the previous Inside Scoop. Health and Human Services target is 0. The committee will repurpose federal grant monies towards their other priorities, is what is listed. Good news is there's no cut target, which means they don't have to go looking for money. The bad news is that doesn't allow them a lot of money to spend, so we need to push even harder now for the 5% increase for elderly waiver. And that is the up to minute Inside Scoop. Is it running?
No,
you
it's standing
sure?
still.
Oh, you are a punster.